be using every single day in class to help you with the bell ringers. Because if you don't do the bell ringers, you're just taking the L, taking a 0 in the active collaboration. The two things you should be using, one, are the people in your group. Talk with each other. You will grow and learn way more when you talk to the people in your group. Two, this is not brand new information, is it? No?
Yes.
No, it's not brand new for any of us except maybe the people who were gone all last week. What should you be looking at to make sense of these problems? Your notes. Get your notes out. When you're doing homework, don't just randomly write crap down. The whole point of homework is for you to study and make sense out of what you've done in class. Look at your notes when you're doing your homework. It will make the homework much easier and you'll learn way more. The notes that we take are not so that you write it down once and then you're done with it. The notes that we take are so that you have something to refer back to make sense out of the math that we're learning. Use your notes. I don't say the stuff that I do in class for my benefit. I already know this information. I have studied it. And please notice how I said studied. It's not magical information that I saw one day and I just understood. I had to study it. And I am 30 years old. I've been studying or looking at geometry since I was, I don't know, 13, 12, something like that. It's when I was in 8th grade. So it's been a long time. It's not something you learn overnight. It's something that you have to put consistent effort into to make sense of. I'm looking at having you do 1 to 2 homework assignments a week. That's it. But you need to do those homework assignments to make sense out of the math that we're learning. I need you actively collaborating and participating in class every single day to make sense out of what we're doing. And I'll say this, I know students like Kelsey, Jalen, Rose, y'all have an excuse today for being mentally brain dead. The ACT was a long test, correct? Ireland?
I took the ACT too.
Kaylin?
Rose didn't.
I did.
You did it?
No, she's a child.
She's a child. It'll be.
Are you a sophomore? In geometry? I thought I only had juniors and freshmen. My bad. My bad.
Big junior game.
Regardless, okay, so I have 4 students who have a reason to be mentally dead. Everyone else, we need to be paying attention, sitting up because that'll help you pay attention. It does not help to have our heads down. So the second you put your head down, you're going to try to go to sleep. Get the backpack off the desk. Get your head up, Kaylin. Gabe. Hood down. Backpack off the desk. Let's go. So, what kind of angles are angles 3 and 4? So,
Who was talking about?
does anyone see any correct statements up here? There are a lot of statements. Does anyone see any correct ones?
Nope.
There what? Raise your hand if you agree that angles 3 and 4 are supplementary. That's what you put? Raise your hand if you agree. Rose, Dee Dee,
I put supplementary.
Brooke agrees. Now also I want to point out, hold on, just because you didn't put that doesn't mean you disagree necessarily. I'm asking to look at angles 3 and 4. Do you agree they're supplementary?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Raise your hand. Come on, show me so I can easily tell. Alright, so some of us aren't quite convinced. Would someone give me a reason that you think they are supplementary? Rose? So you're saying that the first statement is true as well? The first one that people put was a linear pair?
Yeah.
Anton, what do you think about those being a linear pair? Are you paying attention or are you playing with your keychain?
I can do this.
No, you can't.
Okay.
Put the keychain away. Full attention up here. Do you agree that 3 and 4 are a linear pair?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not there.
Oh, so then you need to pay attention because you learned it in middle school. We learned it this year, so you need to pay attention. Someone else wanted to explain why they think it may be a linear pair. So be careful with that language across from. Typically when we say across from, we mean they're what kind of angles? Vertical angles. Okay? Okay, so they're beside each other. That might give us another thing. Matthew? Because they have a what?
They share the same rate.
Hold on, I hear people talking over others, which means they're not listening. Particularly, this is at least 2 of the students in group 6. I need y'all paying attention. Okay. Say that one more time, Matthew. So they have a ray going in between them. A ray going in between them, does that make them a linear pair? What is the ray going between them and them sharing that ray make them? Oh, they are adjacent angles. So if they share, right, so we have an angle here, and we have an angle here, and they are sharing a ray. That makes them adjacent, right? Yes. The whole point of adjacent angles is they have a common ray. Those are adjacent because they have that same ray in the middle. That is the definition of adjacent. You good with that, Matthew? You good with the fact that they're adjacent and what you were talking about makes them adjacent? Okay. Can someone explain to me why they're a linear pair then? Come on, we're close.
The same reason it's the adjacent.
What? It's not the same. Them being adjacent is a part of the fact that they're a linear pair. And Matthew's doing the smartest thing that you could possibly be doing right now. Hold that up, Matthew.
Oh my God, he's looking at his notes. Wow.
Oh wow, it's weird. Like the notes are supposed to help us learn. Don't be sarcastic. Learning is important. Okay? Get your stuff out. Pay attention to the things we have learned in the past because we're constantly building upon the past.
Yeah.
The attitude's not necessary. It's an attitude.
Hey.
Anybody want to explain why they're a linear pair? Brooke? So they are supplementary and they are adjacent, but we mostly know they're supplementary and adjacent because they're a linear pair. Look at the name linear pair. Rose. They're on the same line. Someone else, was it Zaria, did you say it? Okay. Look, say again. But we, again, listen, I need you to hear me on this. We know that they are supplementary because they're a linear pair. Because they're creating, and I think Michaela actually hinted at this at the very beginning, but you said they have a what? Oh, you said half of a what? Circle, which if you look at a line, you can draw half of a circle along that. That's what I was thinking about you saying. But do you see how there are 2 angles that on the outside are forming what shape?
Oh, a line.
Thank you. Guys, math is not designed to be tricky. Look at the words. Linear pair. So they are a pair that make a what?
Line.
That's it.
So they're a pair of lines.
They're a pair of angles. The numbers are defining the angles. It is a pair of angles that are creating a what? Line. That's it. Math was not designed to make your life hard. Like if you just look at the words, it makes sense. Not 95% of the time. Pay attention. It is a linear pair. It's a pair that makes a line. A pair of angles creating a line. And because they are a linear pair, we know that they are adjacent and supplementary. And this goes back to what Michaela was saying. If we have half of a circle, how many degrees is that? 180. And supplementary angles add up to be what? 180. Supplementary angles add up to be 180 degrees. Yes, Kelsey. We have not gotten to that part yet. We will soon. That is a part of the lessons that we're looking at right now.
I needed that on those tests.
You mean that practice test that doesn't impact your future?
A little bit.
Okay. It's a practice test to help you get ready for the actual test. We will get to it. So, linear pair, supplementary. Now, I need y'all to pay attention to this. Are they alternate interior angles?
No.
Now, I think some people are thinking alternate because they're on opposite sides of a transversal. But one's interior, one's exterior if you're looking at them that way. So if you're looking at this right here and this right here as parallel lines, that's on the interior and that's on the exterior. Or if you're looking at it as these are your parallel lines, they're both on the interior. Right? So that would be an issue. And then it wouldn't be on alternate sides of the transversal. So let me ask you this important question. Are they congruent?
No.
If they're, what does it mean to be congruent?
Add up.
They are the same,
Oh.
which means their angle measures are the same or equal. Okay, so they're congruent, so the geometric figures are the same, which means their angle measures are equal. Okay? Could they be congruent?
Yes.
They could be, but we don't know that they are. We know that they are supplementary. They add up to be 180. You want to share with the class, Kelsey?
Somebody don't know how to spell linear pair.
Man, I'm okay with someone not knowing how to spell something, weirdly
Maybe they
enough.
mistype it. Maybe they mistype
And again, it's the idea of I'm okay with misspelling, I need you to understand concepts. So, angles 9 and 11, they're across from each other, so they're vertical.
Oh. I put the other one.
Adjacent?
The other one adjacent.
Okay. But hey, really quickly, does anyone know what it means for, not in math, but for something to be adjacent to something else?
Together?
Close to together? Right now, I'm adjacent to London. I'm next to her. That is all we mean by adjacent. So, I need y'all to, and I guess I should explain that earlier, but I need y'all to hear me on that. Again, math is not supposed to be a complicated language. I am now next to DD, so I am what to DD? Adjacent. So when we say adjacent, they are what to each other?
Adjacent.
Beside, they are next to. That's what you said earlier, that's what I'm trying to get back to. Yes, alright.
Shut up.
Hey.
How is that linear pair and then that's adjacent when linear pairs like right beside each other? What, huh?
These aren't, these are.
I know, but you said, just like you said, that was beside, 12 and 11 was beside each other and then 4 and 3 was beside each other.
Right.
So
So-
how is that two different names? Why couldn't it be the same? They're both beside each other. You said you beside each other.
Hold on. Please reword your question. Are you saying, why are they not adjacent?
Yeah, like both of them.
They are adjacent.
But you said the first one was linear pair.
Correct. A linear pair of angles are angles that are both adjacent and supplementary.
Oh.
If you have a linear pair, they are adjacent and they are supplementary. They are more than one thing. So I never said they weren't adjacent. In fact, if you remember, I circled adjacent and said yes.
Yes, supplementary.
Okay. So a linear pair are also supplementary, they're also adjacent. You good with that? Okay. So 9 and 11 though, they're across from each other. So they are vertical. What do we also know about vertical angles? They are what? Congruent. We go with that idea.
Yes.
Which means their angle measures are the
Same.
so like if I were to say that this is 3x and this is 27, what could I do with those degree measures? Not put them together. You just said that those angle measures are the same, which they are
X equals 7.
No. Not 7.
X does equal 7.
No, it really doesn't.
That's 21.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
9.
So, this is something we looked at in class and was on the test. Hopefully we can learn from our mistakes and grow and get better at this. But if they are vertical, if they are equal and congruent, then we just set them equal to each other, right, Rose? Instead of talking across the room, you're paying attention up here, right? No. You can't do both. Like, that's the issue. Y'all think you can do both. Don't, because you can't. No. I need y'all to hear me very clearly on this. even if you are decent at multitasking, if you are multitasking, you do not have 100% attention on what I'm teaching, which means you are missing important information. You will always miss details if you're not 100% focused. Okay. So, they are vertical angles, so they are congruent, but we need to remember what some of these other things mean. Again, alternate interior. Are they on alternate sides of a transversal? Maybe, but they're not. It depends on what transversal you're looking at. But they're within the same four, right? So we're talking about vertical or linear pair there. Again, we have to, if we're talking about alternate interior or corresponding or any of that stuff, we have to be looking at another grouping.
So we're in 4 lines, it can't be alternate interior?
You can, but not with it when we're talking about the same general area. Like if we're talking about this group of 4, you can't have alternate interior or corresponding within this group of 4. We're always talking about another group of 4 when we say that. So we're going to look at that in the next 2 questions. So what type of angles are angles 1 and 5? So I've got 1 here, and here's 5. So notice how these are in different groups. If they're in different groups, we can talk about corresponding and alternate interior and alternate exterior and consecutive interior. What are those?
Alternate. Wait, that's a 5? Alternate exterior.
When they were mine, but we on the board.
Just said.
Angles, oh, that's 1 and 15, my bad. I misread that. Not 1 and 5. I lied. Thank you. I make mistakes too. So 1 and 15 is what we're supposed to be looking at.
Alternate exterior.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hear alternate exterior from quite a few, which that is the most, it's okay. I need you to understand. First off, are those adjacent angles?
No.
No, because adjacent means they are what?
Next.
Next to, are those next to each other?
So,
No, okay. So I see congruent, a lot of alternate exterior. I can see corresponding. So really quickly, could those be corresponding?
Yes. Wait, hold on.
which one?
What does it mean to be corresponding?
Oh, there you got the
Next to each
same,
other.
like the angle.
I think you're thinking about congruent.
Equality.
Okay, we need to pay attention to this. Corresponding is different than congruent. I need you to pay attention. If I were to take this set of angles and I were to translate it down, where would that 1 be?
Right up on top.
On 16?
What 15 then?
Isn't that 1?
Oh.
If I take that set of angles and I translate it down, where did that 1 be in the same spot as 13? So 1 and 13 would be what kind of angles? Corresponding, which means they would also be what? Congruent. Need y'all to pay attention to that. If they are corresponding angles, they are congruent. Which means their angle measures are the same, okay?
I knew it was.
But 1 and 15, a lot of us said alternate exterior. Why?
It just looks
Because they're both on the outside.
kind of looks
Okay, so them being on the outside of these parallel lines means that they are alternate or exterior? Exterior, right? They're on the outside, so they're exterior. So why alternate?
because they're alternating.
Alternating sides of what?
The transversal.
Transversal. By the way, alternate exterior angles are also what? Congruent. Alternate exterior also congruent. Josh, we shouldn't be on a calculator right now, we should be paying attention. Thank you, sir. So 7 and 11, hopefully this is now easier.
Same side interior.
They're both interior?
They're same side.
That's 7 and 11 for sure, I checked that one. Let me ask you all a question. Could they be congruent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're both on the same side.
Well, it's not just because they're both on the same side, because if they're consecutive interior, same side interior, they're actually supplementary. Yes, ma'am? So translate, right? If I take this grouping and translate it onto this grouping, you see how those be in the same spot? And they map or match each other, so they're congruent. Alright, we good with that idea? Okay? Woo. So we're not going to get through the lesson I planned for today. Instead, you got 10 minutes to ask questions from your homework, okay? So, yeah, we got 10 minutes left of class. the questions from the tan sheet that Jalen already has out about parallel, oh yeah, just, it said, it was 3.2 and 3.5. Huh? Okay, so really quickly, listen up. Austin, can you move up here to group 1, please? You and Josh like to talk a little too much to each other.
You wasn't talking.
What?
You wasn't talking.
I'm not even gonna, no. So, this 3.2 and 3.5, I originally did say it was gonna be due tomorrow, depending on if I would see y'all Friday. I will see y'all Friday before the pep rally, so you can turn this in on Friday. If you're not gonna be here Friday, give it to me tomorrow. Huh? Are you gonna be here Friday? Just give it to me Friday.
I can get to it Friday.
Here you go. Yes, ma'am. What? What?
Bro, you messed it up.
I mean, you have to make up the test at some point. You decide what time you want to make up the test, but we have stuff to learn right now. You can ask me after class. So 3.2, this was mostly focusing on common mathematical symbols. Please hear me very clearly on this. There were a couple of these that I know we haven't covered yet, but and I'll answer those questions now. Most of these we should already know, okay? Which of these do we need to ask questions about?
I think oh. I'm looking at
If you don't ask questions in the next 30 seconds, I'm moving on. You should already know what questions you have to ask.
I already did it.
100% accurate? You know you got them all right? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Check them.
You got your paper?
5, 13, and 14. Okay, so number 5. That's one of the ones we haven't covered. Hey, listen to me very clearly. This will help you fill in the gaps for some of the symbols we have not covered. Does anyone have an idea what kind of angles those two line segments are intersecting at? You're not listening to the question. Well, I guess that could be part of it. What angle measure do you think that's intersecting at? Say it louder. 90 degrees. What kind of lines intersect at 90 degrees? What kind of lines? You're talking about the angles. What kind of lines intersect at 90 degrees? Perpendicular lines. This is the symbol for perpendicular lines. Because literally, those lines are what to each other? Perpendicular, dude. What? Literally, like, those lines are what to each other? Perpendicular. Gabe, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
No, you're trying to talk to Josh. If I need to move you, I will. Huh? No, I need y'all focusing on this homework. We're having a whole class discussion. You can talk about it on your own time. When we're having a whole class discussion, pay attention. All right, you said 13 and 14 as well? Okay, does anyone know what we would say about this?
G.
G?
Cross, yeah.
Notice it's a plus and it's a minus.
What number?
Literally 13 is just a plus and a minus.
They're close together, they didn't like
14 is A.
14 is A?
Yeah.
So 14 is A, an absolute value sign for symbols. Right, so you've seen stuff like absolute value -3, okay? Please notice it is not just, hey, here's vocab, it's giving definitions. This is another resource that you should use to make sure you understand different things or ideas. Any of these other symbols we need to ask questions about.
for like 9 is traffic.
Number 9?
4.
So 9 is one that we haven't talked about. When it's just one, and we'll talk about this later, but when it's one squiggly like that, it means that those figures are similar.
Oh, what number that is?
Number 9. I heard someone else say another question they had.
They said 4.
4? Okay, think about it logically.
8.
What do you think that is?
Triangle.
That's a triangle. So what would that be?
Angle.
I thought y'all just said that was a triangle.
Triangle ABC.
So that would be a triangle,
Oh, I was so
ABC.
That was on my test this morning. I thought it meant
It's okay, we're still learning. We go with the fact that that means triangle.
Yes.
Any questions about that?
No.
Any others?
We
You're not asking questions about the homework. Focus on this. Number which one? 2? Really quickly, what is the difference between something like 2 and something like 6?
2 is comparing.
It's not comparing. What does that M stand for, bro? Measure of angle C. Whereas number 6 is just the geometric figure, what? Angle ABC.
So numbers.
Good afternoon, Patriots.
Hopefully we know.
If anyone picks up a backpack near rooms 1 to 10.
Hey, actually, before you pack up, pay attention to this. Stop and
If
listen.
anyone picks up a backpack near room 1 to 10,
Okay.
please return it to
When there is not a line over the GH, that's understood to be the what?
It's
It's the homework.
Yeah, the length of the GH.
School musical,
When
Roll
there's
Dog,
nothing written above, it is the length.
To sign up for the details, please return to
This homework is due on Friday.
Why you shaking your head like that? Why you shaking your head?
Have a wonderful Wednesday and go house.
Hey Josh, I know you're.
Alright, in closing, hey, stop talking and listen. Gabe, what did I just say? Thank you. Complete any missing assignments. When are those due?
Hey,
Not
look at
sometime,
me.
they are due tomorrow. Missing assignments are due tomorrow. The tan sheet from MVP, both 3.5 and 3.2, it is due on Friday now. We all clear on that? Alright. Groups 5, I need you to clean up your calculators. Those who didn't yet for group 2, clean up your calculators. Group 1, clean up your calculators. Come on. You know where they were when you got them. Put them back.
All these saggy kids.
Good at it now.
Once again, I mean, yes, but you would need to come at the beginning of that class.
So y'all gotta go, man.
You need to talk to your teacher and make sure that's okay.
Yeah.
You too.